Senator Whitehouse just exposed what may be the most dangerous conspiracy against Social Security in American history. In a stunning moment before Congress, he laid out a step-by-step plot involving Trump, Musk, and billionaire allies to systematically destroy and privatize the program that millions of Americans depend on for survival.
Thank you. Senator Whitehouse.
Thanks very much. Welcome, Mr. Bisignano. Two quick questions. One, I'm concerned on behalf of constituents with Social Security disability that there are cliffs in the benefit system that create very peculiar behavior around the edge of the cliff. I think we should engage in bipartisan cliff smoothing. Is that something that you would work with us on?
I'm prepared to research it if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed as soon as I get in there.
And if you are confirmed,
report back to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. If you are confirmed, will you check and make sure that the Musk infiltration of Social Security databases has not damaged those databases or left back doors for private actors to get back into to access Social Security's data system?
There will be a total review, yes.
Thank you. So here's where I think we are. I think there's a bit of a plot afoot here. Step one is to lie about not intending to damage Social Security and to protect Social Security benefits. The president is a profligate liar. Russia didn't invade Ukraine. The election was rigged and stolen from me. I'm not a criminal. DOJ was weaponized. Climate change is a hoax. You just can't stop the lies. And I think I'm not going to attack Social Security is a lie. So that's step one, lie about it. Step two is discredit Social Security. Trump and Musk have been lying loudly about imaginary Social Security fraud, which seems to me to be an effort to lower public confidence in the program. They falsely called it a Ponzi scheme. Well, if those things aren't true, why are they saying them? What is the motive behind those lies? I think the motive is to discredit the system. Then you send in your Musk characters and you start them messing around in the operations of Social Security to damage it. And as we were sitting here, Mr. Bisignano, here comes the breaking news from the Washington Post. Headline, Social Security is breaking down amid long waits, waves of calls, and web crashes. A flood of cuts led by Elon Musk has sent the agency into meltdown as a new commissioner, prepares to take charge. So you also have the billionaire commerce secretary saying that an interruption of benefits would be a good way to sniff out fraud, because the only people who'd complain when their benefits were interrupted would be the fraudsters, which is idiotic, frankly, but it is part of this campaign to disrupt as well as discredit Social Security so that there is then an interruption of benefits. Once there's an interruption of benefits, then Trump can declare an emergency in Social Security and send in the tech bros and the private equity folks, some of whom are already messing around in Social Security, to say, oh, to save Social Security, we have to take it over. We got to have the tech bros and the private equity people take over Social Security. And then that's it. The long-standing Republican goal of getting rid of Social Security as a public program is achieved. And under the pretense that they've saved it, broken it in order to save it. Will you, let's just say that that turns out to be the set of facts that you determine to be the accurate case once you get over there. Will you participate in or defend against that scheme?
Well, I think my job as a commissioner is to ensure that every beneficiary receives their payments on time, that disability claims are processed in the manner they should be. So my first actions are going to be to get organized around delivering the services. And I've only been given one order which is to run the agency in the right fashion.
And
by
what
the
role
president.
will privatizing Social Security, bringing in private equity and tech people, and giving Elon Musk and his little crowd a role have in all of that?
I've never thought about privatizing. It's not a word that anybody's ever talked to me about, and I don't see this institution as anything other than a government agency that gets run for the benefit of the American public.
Let's hope that that is the way this ends. Thank you.
What Senator Whitehouse delivered wasn't just questioning. It was a systematic deconstruction of a coordinated assault on Social Security, laid out with prosecutorial precision. If his analysis proves accurate, we're witnessing the opening moves of the largest privatization scheme in American history. Whitehouse established a pattern of deception extending far beyond Social Security. Trump's relationship with truth follows a template: deny reality, create alternative narratives, then use confusion to justify radical action. The lies about Russia, election fraud, and weaponized justice aren't isolated incidents, they're practice runs for the larger deception about protecting Social Security while undermining it. The second element Whitehouse identified is what he calls the discrediting phase. Trump and Musk haven't just criticized Social Security, they've actively spread false claims about widespread fraud and characterized the program as a Ponzi scheme. This isn't random political rhetoric. It's strategic narrative construction designed to erode public confidence in an institution that has successfully served Americans for nearly 90 years. When public trust collapses, radical solutions suddenly seem reasonable. The technical infiltration Whitehouse described is unprecedented. He mentioned Musk's access to Social Security databases, raising concerns about private actors controlling sensitive government systems. This creates infrastructure for private control over public trust. When billionaires gain administrative access to benefit distribution systems, the line between public service and private profit disappears. The timing Whitehouse highlighted is particularly revealing. As they sat in that hearing room, breaking news confirmed that Social Security operations were in crisis, with long waits, system crashes, and mounting dysfunction. This isn't coincidental system failure. It's engineered chaos designed to create the conditions for emergency intervention. When a system appears to be failing, the public becomes more willing to accept radical solutions, even privatization schemes they would normally reject. The emergency declaration scenario follows a familiar playbook: create crisis through sabotage, declare emergency, then implement solutions benefiting political allies. Tech entrepreneurs and private equity firms aren't waiting by accident, they're positioned to profit from chaos they helped create. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's comment about benefit interruptions being useful for fraud detection reveals the callousness underlying this strategy. The idea that only fraudsters would complain when their survival benefits are cut off shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how Social Security actually works. Real beneficiaries, including elderly Americans living paycheck to paycheck and disabled individuals with no other income sources, would be devastated by any interruption. But in the privatization playbook, their suffering becomes a feature, not a bug. If private actors successfully capture and monetize a program serving 67 million Americans, no public institution is safe. Medicare, Veterans Affairs, federal employee retirement systems all become targets for the same strategy. What makes Whitehouse's analysis particularly powerful is his focus on the human cost of institutional capture. Behind every database breach, every system failure, every delayed payment is a real person whose survival depends on Social Security functioning properly. Elderly Americans choosing between medication and rent, disabled individuals unable to work, survivors depending on benefits after losing a spouse. These aren't abstract policy discussions. They're life and death realities that privatization schemes treat as acceptable casualties. The nominees' responses during the hearing were revealing in their careful neutrality, promising to research benefit cliff issues and conduct a total review of database security sounds responsible, but it also signals a willingness to consider changes that current law doesn't require. When pressed directly about defending against privatization schemes, his answer focused on delivering services rather than protecting the public nature of those services. That distinction matters enormously. This isn't about partisan politics or ideological preferences about government versus private sector efficiency. It's about whether Americans will continue to have a guaranteed safety net, or whether that security will be converted into profit opportunities for people who are already wealthy beyond measure. The choice isn't between perfect government administration and perfect private management. It's between accountable public service and unaccountable private profit extraction. The stakes couldn't be higher. Social Security isn't just a government program. It's the foundation of retirement security for most Americans, the primary source of disability insurance for workers, and the crucial survival benefit for families who lose a breadwinner. Converting that foundation into a private profit center would fundamentally alter the relationship between Americans and their government, replacing guaranteed benefits with market-dependent returns and democratic accountability with corporate decisions. If Senator Whitehouse is right, we're watching the opening moves of a plan that would reshape American society in ways that benefit the wealthy at the expense of everyone else. The question isn't whether this analysis will prove correct in every detail. The question is whether Americans will recognize the warning signs and demand protection for institutions that exist to serve them, not to enrich those who are already powerful.